Okay, so in this video, we will look at how can we using ForecastX actually to estimate the best ARIMA model. So to begin this part of the lecturing, I want to mention about what we learned in the last video. We learned how can we use a PACF, how can we use ForecastX to creating ACF and PACF diagram. As you can see from the data set we are working on, we noticed that the best model may be gonna be our so based on the diagnostic chart here, first of all, we don't see the trend. So the data is stationary. As you can see, the data, the both chart didn't show the bar are slowly dying down. Dying down means the bar moving inside this 95% upper and lower limits. So if within the 95% confidence interval, that means the bar is not statistically significant different from zero. So as we can see here, maybe the best ACF, this diagram, the best black box can be modeled by using, so the ACF tell us how many MA term we needed. So MA 3. And then so for this diagram, it's indicating AR 2, right? So because the number of the spike in each diagram is corresponding to the AR and MA term. So the ACF tell us MA term and the PACF diagram tell us the AR term. Okay, so now is this our best model? Basically AR, MA 2 and 3. So in order to answer that question, we need to run our ForecastX. Okay, so let's go back to the question again. So estimate the proper model as determined from your inspection and forecast 4 quarters into the future. So we are required to forecasting 4 quarters into future and calculating the RMSE root mean square error square root of the mean square error. So for this statistics, so that is the smaller the value, the more accurate the model is. So similar as R square. So we are able to see this option from our ForecastX as well. Okay, so now let's work on the data together. So this is the data we have, and then we are selecting the data. Okay, after we do that, and then we're gonna go to Add In tab, choose Forecast. Okay, again, so for this serial, we don't have the time label, so we need to make sure we check these 2 labels and increase labels here to 1. And then we need to forecasting, so we are assuming the data is quarterly. Let's change this to quarterly. And we need to forecast period. We only need the forecasting out 4 period. So after you do that, and then we go into forecast method, we will choose Box-Jenkins method. Okay, Box-Jenkins method. So you don't need to set up the non-seasonal and the seasonal parameter here, because for ForecastX, it will help us to pick the best model, okay, the best model. So after we do that, we'll go to statistics. So we're gonna make sure we are selecting the required statistic, which is RMSE. So in order to have your ForecastX results, including RMSE, what you need to do is come into the more statistic here. We want to check the box, enable link box, because we're actually going to use this statistic later. And also we're going to check the box called root mean square error. So this is the RMSE, root mean square error. So square root of mean square error, okay? So after you do that, and check this 2 box, and then we can click OK. Okay, and then at the report, as by default, we're always gonna use audit. So make sure you check the box audit. And after that, you can click finished. Okay, so I'm gonna view the output. Let me zoom in a little bit. So if we're scrolling down, okay, so we'll be able to see the best model our model picked. It's very close on what we diagnosed, right? So ARIMA 202000. So the first 3 digits here is corresponding to the how many AR term you needed is 2. And since the data is a stationary, so the I term is equal to 0. So the MA term equal to 2. It's very close on what we identify by diagnosing our diagram itself, right? So at this point, when we are not sending our model time series to our ARIMA model. So this is based on the original time series. So we are able to see MA term equal to 3, AR term equal to 2. So after the computer to do a multiple iteration, they found that the ARIMA 202 is better than ARIMA 203. Okay, so the best model, so to answer the question number 3, so the best model we're looking at here is MA 202. So now what's the value for RMSE? So if we go back to look at our ForecastX output, so you will see that the root mean square is able to calculate here. So you don't need to do the hands-on calculation. So it is equal to 0.38. As I mentioned, the value is between 0 and the positive infinite. So the more closer to 0, the better fit the model to the data. Okay, so this is how you can use the ForecastX to identify the best ARIMA model and how to find the value or getting the value for the RMSE value. Okay.